Dogman fans, we need to talk. 2 weeks ago, I was riding high, fresh off watching Dogman the movie and flipper-armoring through the books like my life depended on it. I was in full-blown pitch mode, laying out exactly how an inevitable sequel would go. Because I mean, Dogman 2 was a lock, right? Great reviews, fans loving it, and most importantly, that sweet, sweet Hollywood cash flow. I mean, look at these headlines. You'd think James Cameron directed this thing. But Dogman fans, I hate to rain on the parade. I don't actually know if we're getting a sequel, because despite the glowing headlines, Dogman is sitting at a lower box office total than the Captain Underpants movie. I know, I couldn't believe it myself, and considering we've all given up hope on ever getting a Captain Underpants 2, I'm starting to get worried. You in the back, yeah, you, I can hear your thoughts. You're saying, bro, why does the box office even matter? This movie slaps, and shouldn't we just care about the artistic credibility? Oh, sweet summer child, this is Hollywood. You think those fat, filthy bigwig execs care about artistic integrity? I mean, Madam Web happened, for heaven's sakes. So yeah, I'm nervous, but there is still a chance. If the digital release blows up and the audience demand stays strong, then maybe, just maybe, we can get a sequel willed into existence, or at the very least a Netflix spin-off show. Now, with the prequel level exposition out of the way, I'm here to make good on the promise. In my last video I said I wasn't really down with undoing Petey's development, so we need a new big bad. And what better way to manifest Dogman 2? You see, yeah, that little guy there? Well, that's me. I'm striding down the hallways of DreamWorks and hand delivering a cheeky list of the best possible villains for a Dogman sequel. God, please make this movie, DreamWorks. I'm kind of a SLUURP, and these are 5 villains that could appear in Dogman 2. Oh yeah, and number 1 is totally gonna light up the comment section. My God. Number 5, the Fleas. How could I not start with the Fleas? I mean, I waxed lyrical about them in my last Dogman 2 pitch video. And no, I will not stop with those cheap plugs. You can't make me. For those who missed it, and honestly, shame on you, I spent a good 5 minutes passionately arguing why Piggy, Bub and Crunky are the perfect villains for Dogman 2. And guess what? I still stand by that. I mean, it's only been 2 weeks after all. Because if you want a villainous trio that's pure chaos, hilarious and a legitimate threat, then look no further. In my last video I said I was not a fan of resetting Petey's redemption arc, just to make him evil again. So what's the best way to continue his story without undoing all that development? Well, easy, make him face his past. Enter the Fleas. These guys have history with Petey. They blame him for ruining their lives, and now they're back for revenge. Unlike Petey, they're not wavering on morality. They don't get a redemption arc. They are full-on villains, and they revel in it. It's a story that writes itself. Petey is trying its best to be a good guy, co-parenting little Petey, maybe even staying out of crime entirely. Then boom, Piggy and his goons show up with a personal vendetta, blaming Petey for everything that went wrong in their lives. Now Petey has a choice. Does he stay on the path of redemption and work with Dogman to stop them? Or does he fall back into his old habits? This is prime material for an emotional Petey arc, while also giving us a villain team that's straight up fun to watch. And speaking of fun to watch, number 4, the Weenies. Move over, Thanos. Darth Vader? Yeah, more like Darth... Lameder? Okay, that needed a bit of workshopping, but the point is cinema has a new iconic villain on the horizon if my boys, the Weenies, make their debut in Dogman 2. And if you haven't had the pleasure of reading about these anthropomorphic hot dogs while sipping on a beautiful glass of wine, then I feel sorry for you. What a sad little life you must have. The Weenies first appeared back in book 1. Petey, being the menace that he is, uses his living spray to bring a group of these hot dogs to life. The problem? They aren't just mindless food product. No, these suckers developed personalities, and one of them, the leader Weenie, took extreme offense to being treated like a disposable snack food.
Shakespeare would be jealous.
Now, do I see the Weenies as main villains of Dogman 2? Well, fuck yeah! Yeah! No, absolutely not. But as an army of goons, a mindless wave of bite-sized terror, oh yeah, 100%. I think you could introduce them pretty nicely. I mean, let's say Petey gets framed. And this would be a real twist on Brawl of the Wild, but instead of Dogman getting sent to the dog pound, it's Petey who takes the fall. Maybe the Fleas or some other villain is actually behind the Weenies' return, but the public immediately assumes Petey is up to his old tricks. He gets arrested, the media turns on him, the entire city thinks he's back to being the bad guy. But here's where the emotional weight kicks in. For the first time ever, Little Petey and Dogman believe him. They don't doubt him, they don't assume the worst.
Hey, that's pretty good.
No matter how they're used, the Weenies are a must. Vive la résistance, long live the Weenie Rebellion. Number 3. Flat Petey. Before we get started, let's play a little game this round. Take a shot every time I say Petey in this pitch. So yeah, Flat Petey made this list thanks to one beautiful commenter, who not only suggested him, but also agreed with my rather genius title for the next movie, Dogman the Fleetquel. And yeah, just a side note, I did not expect that to be the most controversial part of the last video, but here we are. So Flat Petey. Dogman Unleashed gave us one of the most chaotic villain stories of the entire franchise. Petey, being the evil scientist wannabe that he is, tries to clone himself, but instead of getting a regular fleshy evil twin, he ends up with Flat Petey, a sentient paper-thin version of himself. And let me tell you something, this guy, well, he's a menace. His 2D nature makes him almost impossible to catch. He can slip under doors, fold himself into disguises, and disappears into books, and basically becomes a walking, talking optical illusion. He's basically Petey's dark side dialed up to 11. Now, talking about a sequel, story-wise, I feel like introducing Flat Petey kinda rules out the Fleas and vice versa, so let's keep the Fleas and the Weenies as their own kind of deal, and go all in on a completely different direction for Flat Petey. So Dogman 2 kicks off and suddenly the city is under attack. Banks are being robbed, chaos is erupting everywhere, and all of the evidence points towards Petey. The only problem? Petey is innocent. Petey is wrongfully accused, and of course Dogman, Lil Petey and the rest of the gang are on the hunt for who's responsible. And the audience knows it's Flat Petey. But that's not the only big bad doppelganger causing trouble, because guess what? There's also a Robo Chief. What the f? That's right, a robotic version of Chief is working from inside the police force, making this mission even more difficult for Dogman and the gang. I mean, we've got Flat Petey, Robo Chief, oh boy, these villains are cooking, isn't that right? Oh god, I guess you shouldn't have took a shot every time I said Petey.
Cheers!
Oh man, poor guy, but anyway, so we've got Flat Petey, Robo Chief, but who is behind these villainous creations? Well, that's the perfect segue for number 2, Evil Mayor and Dr. Scum. Yes, that's right, I'm giving you 2 for 1 right here. If we're bringing in Flat Petey and Robo Chief, there's only one logical mastermind pulling the strings, Dr. Scum. In his debut, Dr. Scum teamed up with the mayor to create Robo Chief, a robotic duplicate designed to replace the real chief, and sow chaos within the police force. Their plan? Undermine authority and give villains total control of the city. And yeah, this works because it also gives the mayor her full evil villain arc. I mean, in the first Dogman movie, we kinda see hints of her corruption, but she never fully embraces her villain status like she does in the books. So Dogman 2, it's time to let her cook. A movie version of the storyline could play out organically, no forced villain twist or last minute reveals. Instead, we see the mayor's growing corruption from the start of the sequel. She becomes power hungry, tyrannical, obsessed with controlling the city, but she has a problem. Dogman and Petey are getting along. That's bad for business. She can't have those two threatening her rule, inspiring change, or God forbid, turning the public against her. But she's not about to fight them, oh no, that would leave clues. People would start questioning. She needs a puppet, a middleman. Enter Dr. Scum. Step 1. Create Flat Petey to frame OG Petey for Flat Petey's crimes, driving a wedge between him and Dogman. Step 2. Corrupt the police force. With Chief and Dogman sniffing around trying to prove Petey's innocence, the mayor can't have them looking too close. What if they connect the dots? What if they find out who really is behind all of this? Dr. Scum has the perfect solution for that though. A perfect programmable police leader that answers only to them. Heck, what even if we went a little further with this? And what if they introduced an AI buddy of Dogman? A robotic upgrade designed to replace our hero entirely. It's AI, more loyal to the Mayor and more obedient to Dr. Scum's programming. Think about the paranoia this could create, with imposters running around, corruption at the top, and his own allies being manipulated. I mean, who would Dogman actually trust? But if that doesn't happen, I mean, where else could we go with a sequel? Well, I'm about to jump off the deep end with one final, absolutely unhinged villain pick. Number 1, Captain Underpants. Yeah, I'm serious, yeah. I know how insane it sounds, and yes, if you've been paying attention, you probably should have seen this coming. If you watched the first video in the series, you know I said we need more Captain Underpants in the cinematic universe, and yet we never got a sequel to the first epic movie, which by the way is a crime. Instead, DreamWorks pivoted to a Netflix series, which was fine, but let's be real, never really scratched the itch for a full-blown cinematic return. But now, with Dogman proving that this universe can thrive on the big screen, the time is now, and I know what you're thinking. Are we gonna address the fact that Captain Underpants isn't a villain? Let me cook, goddammit. So I was looking at the box office for Captain Underpants and Dogman, and they're both modest hits. So I thought, how do we improve this and get more people to start watching these movies? Well, why not combine the two IPs? I mean, there's two routes you could basically go with this. Dogman and Co gets transported to George and Harold's world, or number 2, George, Harold and Mr. Crab get transported into the Dogman world. Both have potential, but I think I prefer George and Harold getting transported and losing Captain Underpants in the process. They need Dogman's help to find him, but when they do, he's not himself. Mr. Krupp is still in control, and he's working with the evil mayor and Dr. Scum. Maybe those two have found a way to mind control Captain Underpants and turn him evil. And if we're calling this movie Dogman vs Captain Underpants, we need a fight. I mean, every one of these movies has one, right? Godzilla vs Kong, Batman vs Superman, heck, look at the Sonic franchise. Sonic and Knuckles, Sonic and Shadow. It's the formula. Rivals that battle, then team up to fight a bigger bad. So, be honest with me, is this as crazy as it sounds? I don't think it is. I mean, the Captain Underpants universe has a device that brings comic book characters to life, so maybe whatever transports the characters between universes is a play on that? Boy, I cannot wait for the comments on this one. And hey, why not get to commenting right now, because that's my list. Which of these villainous sequel ideas works best? Have I lost the plot? Did you survive the Petey drinking session? Drop all your thoughts in that comment section down below. And hey, they might even show up in a future video. If you're new to SLUURP, hit that subscribe button for more speculative content on your favourite franchises. I've been Connor for SLUURP, and before you go, why don't you check out this clip from our last Dogman video. Link in description. Go watch it, please, please. Go watch it, please, please. The entire plot of the book, well, it's based around Hollywood, and yeah, that's perfect for an actual Hollywood movie. Yes, that's right, a major part of this story revolves around a movie adaptation of Dogman's life being filmed. Tell me that wouldn't be a dream for DreamWorks to adapt. They could go wild with the material. They have